Hey, good morning, guys. Sean here with BlueRidgeSilverhound. Hope everyone's having a great day. Today we're going to do kind of a little bit of a hunting clinic of sorts. If there's going to be one video that you will probably want to bookmark, it's probably going to be this one. And this is probably geared towards more of the new collectors that's trying to understand why some of the more newer modern coins have been selling for many thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars. Okay, and then these are coins generally that you hear about maybe on other YouTube channels. Well, got a little dog hair right there. Let's go ahead and eliminate that. But mostly a lot of the information that's provided to us these days is through social media. Okay, and one of the biggest things that I think a lot of people are very interested in is trying to determine how a 1960s Lincoln cent, and I'll flash one up on screen here. This is actually the infamous 1963D Lincoln cent. This one coin sold for $10,000 a number of years back, and they are all still very valuable in a mid-state 67. It's what we consider to be a top pop grade. So normally people would want to purchase these coins to add to a registry set. You know, that's where a lot of the money is coming from in the purchase and sale of these coins, is to simply add it to a points-based set on PCGS or NGC's website. Okay, and it's like, you know, who stacks the highest rank-wise for a specific series based off of the highest grade of each coin. Each coin is assigned a point value dependent on the numerical grade. Like you saw, that 63D was a mid-state 67. It's the highest grade, so it is assigned the most amount of points. There is this misconception that you could just simply go out to the bank, pick up some bankrolls, and then bam, just go ahead and find one. Now, I will tell you this right now. There's a lot of deceptive coins out in circulation today. It's not uncommon for someone to just simply come across, say, a 1968D Lincoln cent in such pretty condition that it looks like it was minted yesterday. So yeah, those do exist out there, but how do you determine if that's the coin that you need to send out? Well, first of all, take it from someone, myself, namely, that went through a stretch of about 8 months, and it was actually about 8 years ago where I continuously submitted new coins, kind of beta testing to see how they would come out. And I can honestly say, if it will test your patience like nothing else. And again, like I had mentioned, the misconception that you could just find these coins in circulation is not the best route when it comes to finding and identifying some of these high grade coins. So I have 3 rolls sitting right here. These are referred to as BU rolls, okay, and that stands for Brilliant Uncirculated Rolls. Generally, these were assembled at the time of release for a specific date. So for this particular instance, this is a 63D roll, okay? I had already been through that. Now, the coins look gosh darn pretty. And that is what you're going to find in a BU roll. Now, this particular roll right here is encapsulated in this old plastic case. Generally, you'll see the old masking tape, and you know, the masking tape is normally what people used to seal the caps to the actual plastic tube part of it. And then after time, the masking tape would get so hard and so brittle that you would literally have to pry it off with a utility knife. Okay, and then if you found a roll like this that's this old and has a piece of Scotch tape around it, I would say that it has probably been searched through. That's kind of like a common remedy on these rolls, is to just simply put a piece of Scotch tape on there, and if it looks fresh as if it was applied yesterday, then more than likely you have a searched BU roll. Now, the other reason why people actually go through these rolls, aside from looking for high grade coins, whether it's for an album or if you wanted to test your luck, sending it out to the graders in the hopes that you're going to get back a very, very valuable coin. People like to go through these for also varieties and errors. I can tell you this right now. I have come across many repunched mint marks, doubled dies, and kind of maybe on the minor side, errors like die chips, die cracks. I've even found a cut die break on a coin at one point. Clashed coins is another great coin to find in there. Those have their own kind of like value to error collectors. Not tens of thousands of dollars as you would expect, but some of the coins surprisingly are worth like 5, 10, 15 bucks, you know? So usually in a BU roll, you're going to have coins struck from maybe 2 sets of dies. So you're going to have 2 different die states in there. But, you know, aside from that, those are really the 2 reasons why you would buy BU rolls, or maybe just investing in BU rolls. The older they get, the more that they're worth. So the 63D, let's say if it was still sealed, this is probably an $8 roll. All right. So I also have a 64. So for those of you that know your dates in terms of BU rolls, this is a tougher one. There are a couple doubled dies that are noteworthy in here. In addition, this is probably one of your most expensive 60s Lincoln cents in the highest possible grade. All right, so I'm wearing the nitrile gloves for a reason. Some would say, well, why aren't you wearing cotton gloves? Well, cotton gloves have fibers that come off of them. If you're simply looking through these rolls to cherry pick the highest possible grade, you want to wear something that's not going to shave off powder or any sort of fibers. Okay, aside from that, cotton gloves are great to wear if you're sorting through like a type collection of older coins. All right, keeps your finger oils off of the coins, which normally that would be more of a blight on actual hunting through coins, because fingerprints are actually considered not only bad eye appeal on a coin, but to certain people it's considered damage. So with let's use the 63. Now the big reason why I'm using this is that on the older BU rolls, believe it or not, the original coins, and I'm going to go ahead and expand in here a little bit. The original coins will have the original coating of grease. Now, if you look at this 63D, it's brand spanking new, but it also has kind of like that haze. I don't know if you guys see that whitish haze. This is a coin that I've evaluated a number of times. Actually, I've evaluated all the coins that you see in that roll. And none of them quite cut the mustard. A lot of them I consider to be maybe mid-state 63, 64, maybe occasional 65. On the grading scale and on PCGS's price guide or the secondary market value, it's just not worth sending out to the graders. So you guys need to know where to go to evaluate valuation of the coins before you decide to send them out. Because I will tell you this, there is absolutely zero room for error when it comes to grading modern coins from 1950 up. Okay, you want to hit, say, a mid-state 67 that's worth $10,000. But what happens if you hit a mid-state 66? There's no safety net. You have a coin that's worth just a shade over your submission cost to PCGS. You have to know that. So with these older coins, they actually have the original coating of grease. So if I just take my thumb and swipe, all right, you're actually going to see some of that grease kind of like shift side to side. Some coins are a little bit stronger than others, but a lot of these older coins from the 60s, and yeah, you can see a little bit there. It's so very light. But what you want to do is try not to disturb the grease coating on every single coin, okay? People are enamored with strike-throughs, of course. That's only because with strike-through grease, the mint employees add a little bit of grease to the dies because they're machinery. They break down over time. They need constant lubrication, so that way they work to its optimum level. So on these type of coins, you'll see just an ever so light cover of grease, a skim. And you could tell right away if that skim of grease has been disturbed. See, it's got that whitish kind of like tint to it. This one also has a nice little skim of grease all over the coin. Of course, you're going to want to just handle the coin on its edges. Okay, that's coin collecting 101. And not touch the face of the coin. All right, so there's a few things that we're going to look at to help evaluate the grade of a coin. That's important to the graders. All right, so with these copper coins, the overall cleanliness of this empty area here that you see in front of Lincoln, behind, and then underneath Liberty, and then the same can be said on the reverse in these spots here. These have to be absolutely clean. All right, this one here has a lot of the regular original planchet marks, so that's why it looks kind of pitted right here. All right, and then on the front of the coin, you're going to pay especially close attention to whatever marks that you see on the fields. Okay, so you have this dark kind of mark right here. All right, so that's probably a bag mark of sorts or something, but you also see a couple little nicks here and there. But where you're going to see a lot of it, and then right here above the one in the date, where you're going to see a lot more of those nicks are on the highest points of the coin. So you see one here on his cheek. You see quite a bit here on Lincoln's lapel of his jacket, and then on his shoulder area, and then right here on his forehead. Those are some of the most common problem areas of these early dated Lincolns. And for any other coin, for that matter, if you looked at today's coinage, 2019, 20, and then the upcoming 21s, you're going to find that a lot of the same things apply because these coins are struck at such a rapid rate, all right? And none of them are white glove. They're made for circulation. So sometimes, like, for instance, 2020 was a great year to use as example that the U.S. Mint just didn't give a diddly squat about the overall quality control of the coins, is because we were in a coin shortage and they needed to crank out production to help offset that shortage that we're encountering in commerce today. All right, so with these coins, the overall cleanliness is one major component, and not only the fields but the devices, the highest points of the coin. Okay, the second thing that you're going to take into consideration, that the graders also take into consideration, is the strength of the strike. Okay, so if I give you guys a moment to look at this coin, what is probably the one thing that's holding this coin from grading high, aside from all the little nicks in the fields? Let me flip this over one more time. All right, so if you said strength of the strike, you were absolutely correct. Now, the obverse of the coin looks pretty decent, but if we were to flip this coin over, you can see a lot of weakness here on the bottom steps of the Lincoln Memorial. All right, it doesn't really help your cause if you wanted to send this in because it looks so pretty and it looks perfect as if it was minted yesterday. It kind of was. But keep in mind, a lot of these coins are being minted at rapid succession, that all the coins are even, they're being flung into a bag, a hopper, and into a ballistics bag full of other Lincoln cents. And they're all kind of banging and clanging against each other. That, again, it's going to provide more nicks and scratches on the highest devices. But the strength of the strike, you'd see this weakness right here. All right, we're beginning to see some deteriorated dies. And usually the graders will count that against your overall grade of the coin. If the coin is strong and powerful looking, then you're going to be in good shape. So that coin that we looked at, obviously probably wouldn't grade no higher than a 64 on its best day. For those of you that aren't familiar with the PCGS price guide, go on PCGS's website, pcgs.com. Sorry, I got a utility knife. This is actually another 63D roll that we're going to open up because I haven't opened it up yet. This one was provided by a viewer, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's in this one. But go on PCGS's website. At the top of the website, you're going to see price guides. So just go in there and then drill down by denomination and take a look at some of your favorite dates to see how much price guide value those coins have. Of course, it's all different. So if, say, a coin says it's $6,000 in a mint state 67, the price can vary depending on the market. All right, you might only get $2,500 for it, or you might get $8,000. It really depends. I know right now, as of the beginning of 2021, that the market is absolutely robust. So you might get toward that top end of the value range, or a little bit higher. All right, from based on what I've seen, you guys have seen my Monday market reports, so you guys know exactly where the market is. So let's see if I was able to cut enough here, and it's probably looking unlikely. So let's go ahead and try this again. There we go. It cuts deep. Cuts deep. Watch your fingers because we don't want a gusher here. And let's see what we got here. I have a feeling that this was probably searched through at one point. But that's okay. We will take a look at it. There we go. So this one is in some sort of like, I don't know, it might be an original paper roll. Brand spanking new, that would be a tight wrapped or tight machined end. And then this one looks pretty loosey-goosey, which I believe it's been searched through for like varieties and that sort of thing. And that's something you're going to have to look for. With these BU rolls, I wanted to take a second to bring this up. These are beginning to dry up in the secondary market, okay? And the big reason why is that the huge kind of like emphasis out there on social media and just media in general of looking for varieties, errors, and those high-grade coins is at its peak right now, all right? So a lot of these are drying up. People are buying these. They're cracking them open. And they're trying to find some of those coins. Where you're going to find these, okay, and your best bet is your local coin shops. You're going to find these on eBay. Keep in mind, if you see some rolls with a tight end on one side and then one that looks loosey-goosey like this one here, more likely it's been searched through, so make sure you guys are cognizant of that. Or coin shows. But keep in mind, probably 90% of them have been searched, and very few of them have not. But the ones that have not been searched are going to be kind of like your golden goose egg. So, yeah, make sure you scoop those up. Make sure you don't overpay for them. That's always important. If someone said, oh, yeah, I'm asking $25 for this roll of 63Ds, I would say, no, I'm good, thanks. That's just completely so far off base on the secondary market. It's not worth gambling at that point. But let's go ahead and take a look at this 63D roll. The end coins look pretty good. Generally, with these earlier rolls, you're going to see some sort of tarnishing, some toning. You're probably going to see more spots. I mean, these end coins are awfully clean for being a roll that's over 55 years old. Or 54, right? 59, 58 years old. So we're just going to go ahead and look through a few of them because I would venture to guess that a lot of them are going to be relatively similar in condition. And you always want to take care in how you handle the coins because obviously if you're searching for some of those high grade rarities, you certainly don't want to, pour them all over your work area and then risk having all the coins kind of bang into each other because it won't take much to apply more damage or contact marks onto a coin doing that. All right. So the edges look really clean. This particular roll was probably stored in a very dry area. Usually with coins that are from like the East Coast or the Southeast region, the actual paper rolls will be affected by any sort of humidity and moisture. Okay, and then when you open up the rolls, you're going to find that the edges of the coins will be dark or black in some instances, and it'll usually carry over to the obverses and the reverse of the coins. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at a few here. And then I'll show you exactly what I see. All right. So at first glance, here are a few things that I see that would disqualify this one from even being a choice in a grading submission. Okay. So you see this nick here, you see this thing here, which looks like kind of like a little strike through, a nick, couple little contact marks here. You could pan the coin back and forth and you could see like, I know usually there's going to be a skim of grease on here, but see this whitish area, this little stain, that's also going to affect the grade a good deal. You have a carbon spot here. This looks pretty weak right here. You have weakness in this bottom stair of this Lincoln. There you go. That's the first. That I believe this is the end coin of that roll. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at coin number 2. All right, so right off the bat, we have this big old gash right here. It's something like that would automatically disqualify the coin, and then you have this pretty deep contact mark right here, and then on the jaw area. On the reverse, you have a lot of the same things. There's weakness of the strike, bottom of the steps. While lustrous, you could see most certainly a lot of the planchet flaws and nicks on there. And if you turn the coin a certain way, you can see also some of the carbon spotting behind Lincoln's head. All right, so that one's probably... A lot of these coins generally in BU rolls are going to be kind of like that mid-state 64 worthy candidate. But this is also 63D. Make sure you look for that DDO, FS101. That's always a big deal. And they're relatively common too. This coin looks actually really clean, okay? But there are a few things that are going to dissuade me from actually sending this in. Most notably, this little guy here behind his head is a nick in the field. If you flash a coin a certain way, you can see a few more kind of scrapes right here as well. This one is certainly the best one out of the bunch so far. The reverse looks okay. You can see a few of the little bag marks right here in this area. The bottom steps is particularly strong on this one. And that just helps solidify the fact that these rolls have coins that were struck from a few different set of dies. Some more fresh than others. Maybe they use 2 different reverse dies, the same obverse die. So it could be any combination thereof. But this is a nice coin. I would say this is probably a mid-state 65 with possibly a good shot a 65 plus. But this is more well-suited and best suited as kind of like that album coin. If you're looking for that really nice 63D to put into your album, this is probably a candidate that I would use for such a collection. All right, so here's the next one here. You can tell automatically night and day between the last coin and this one. This is another 64 example. So you have this nick, you have a few carbon spots in areas where carbon spots isn't the end of the world when it comes to grading, but when you have carbon spots in conjunction with a lot of nicks, see this one under the eye? Even a nicks on the rim also play a huge role too. So you have this pretty significant one here next to the 3. You got this one up here by the T and trust. The strength of the steps is okay on this one. Just a tight touch of weakness on the bottom step there. But all in all, this is probably a 64 plus. It wouldn't be worth submitting. All right, we got a few more coins. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, this same premise can apply to also nickels, dimes, quarters. If you wanted to, you could search through that too. So we have this pretty big nick here on the rim, big, huge carbon spot here. That's actually right good size for the coin type. Another one there, a few nicks here. And then on the reverse, you have this much weaker bottom step. You have a bunch of little planchet nicks, loss of luster because of that here in this area. And then there's a scratch that goes all the way across E pluribus unum right there. All right, so that is not a worthy candidate. But as you can see, I'm nitpicky as all get out on these coins, and you should be too, okay? If there is anything like, see this? 1, 2, 3, 4 carbon spots, 5 right here in the hair. Okay, me personally, I wouldn't even consider submitting this because you have to think in terms of your grader. Okay, your grader is not going to pull any punches when it comes to grading, especially if it's going to affect the population counts at the highest level. They're not going to give you a free pass on stuff like that. You have a bunch of nicks here. And besides, if you're submitting coins to PCGS anyways, like, oh, I'm going to send out this 163. Send out your 5 to 10 best coins. Okay, and then generally people are, the ones that have the most amount of success doing this, send out 50, 100, 200 coins. They send out some pretty bulk sized submissions. Okay. And then if you're going to have any shot whatsoever at getting a good grade, the more you send out, the better your chances, right? That's like trying to win a lottery by doing scratch offs. You can either have a chance buying one ticket or you could buy 20 tickets of winning something. But this one right here, you can see a little bit of weakness in bottom of the step. Carbon spot here. Little thing here. Again, I'm extremely picky, and you guys should be too. And I was actually able, back when I was doing this about 8 years ago, actually got away from grading moderates clean. Like I broke even. But not a lot of people are that lucky. All right. So you guys want to make sure if you're going to get into this, that you are playing with house money. A lot of people have house money today with the stimulus checks and all that stuff. I would probably find other things to invest time and money on rather than trying to grade out, 1989 like it said that you had found and change that looks marginal at best. But yeah, this one right here, a lot of nicks here and the lapel and, a few little contact scrapes here. Weakness on that bottom step right there and nick right here. Yeah, I mean, to some people that's like a mint state 64, 65. To me, I see it as it's going back in that roll. So without turning it so that it's directly to the camera, you could see all of the staining. It could be grease, but do not disturb it. And you see a few nicks here. This looks all particularly rough in this area here. You have this little gash here, a tiny little nick, not so much a gash here on Lincoln's jaw and in the back of the hair. Reverse of the coin, you have a little bit of weakness right here, bottom steps. You have a couple of little doodahs right here. I don't know if that's strike through or nicks, but I can tell you this right now, those are a negative factor for grading. And then finally, this last coin, and this will give you an idea of how the whole roll is going to be. This one is in really rough shape. There's an extra gash right here because Lincoln's lapel does not have an extra defined line or design point right there. And then you have a few little nicks on his cheek and his jawbone. This one has a considerable amount of what I consider to be carbon based off of moisture that comes from the roll wrapper. So there was a little bit of moisture on this coin, either on the coin or it permeated through the paper of the roll to cause this right here. And then automatically, this one is disqualified of being any sort of grading candidate. So you see how tough it is. You could literally, and I can tell you this based off of experience, you can literally spend hours going through many hundreds, if not thousands of coins of one specific date and probably come across with maybe finding a good 5. Because with 63D, the pops are so low. I could say that the population for a 63D and 67 is probably like 4 or 5 coins. For the longest time, there wasn't even a 67. Back 8 years ago, the highest grade was 66 plus. So when you're going through the coins, you want to make sure, number one, you go on either PCGS or NGC's price guide evaluator. They have a chart on there for these coins. And you need to look at how much the highest grade is and how much the other grades are underneath it. Because ideally, my principle to approaching this with some sort of success is you need to find coins where it's got a really sky high value at its top grade, and then the 2 other grades before it, the 2 half grades, like in this case for a 63D, it's $10,000 in Mint State 67. In Mint State 66 plus, it's like a $1,500 coin. So yeah, you have a little bit of a safety net. And then in Mint State 66, which is another half a point grade lower than the plus designation, that's a coin, I believe it's like 135. So you have a few kind of like, you have a few steps to tumble down to. Whereas on other coins, you just don't have that. A coin is like $5,000. And then if you're half a point grade lower, it's $40. So there's absolutely no safety net when it comes to certain dates. And the newer the dates go, the less of a safety net you have. But that's going to go ahead and do it for this one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this little clinic on how to find some high-grade bombs and beauties. Get into it if and only if you have a lot of time and a lot of patience. You need to be absolutely hard on yourself with the grading, because if you're not going to succeed in this. And make sure you submit coins in quantity. It's going to be expensive. If you send out a bulk submission, I think it's like 18-20 bucks. And then obviously, you're going to want to insure your package if you have a feeling that you're going to have coins that are going to be worth a lot of money. So you've seen how I did it. I wish you guys nothing but the best of successes and luck. Make sure you bookmark this video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for instant notifications. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. You guys have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you guys soon. And Coinaholics, we're discovering together. Take care now.